Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Turn Bark Time. I'm the Turn,
I'm the Bark.
and it is season 4, episode 4. Turlocking. What's our word? Amalgamation.
It was synergy, I thought, from
Synergy. Oh yeah,
Martinez.
yeah,
Synergy. Then we made it amalgamation. We had the Santa Claus
yeah.
episode.
Still, shout out to Dr. Martinez. I don't think she watches. I don't even know if she
No, I
remembers
don't
our
think
name.
I don't think Dr. Sarah Martinez is a one of the tens of followers. So
Tens of dollars. Hey, so everybody, we are going to continue our trend of weird wars because we went down a rabbit hole and the burrow keeps going.
much like
So,
Alice.
yeah. So, season 4, episode 4 is going to focus on another war that involves animals. But this time, the animals didn't start the war. People involved did. Oh, come on. No, they were being pests. They don't start it. This is a man-made thing.
It depends on if you whose sources you read. The Australians kind of say, they do anthropomorphize, they do kind of humanize the emus
Oh,
and
geez.
say that, the emus might have had a grand strategy and they used guerrilla tactics.
All right. Anyway, with Barker cracking that shell, this is the emu war. And for those who don't know, an emu is about a bird that stands about 5'7". It is it's basically a dinosaur.
It's the second largest bird behind the ostrich. I didn't realize how flippin' big ostriches are. Ostriches
They're
can be like
massive.
9 feet tall.
Yeah.
Like
But
they can
even
play,
Simbo jumps
they can
around fine
dunk.
on one.
Anyways, so
Yeah.
emus, yeah, they weigh roughly like 80 to 90 pounds.
Yeah.
They can run 31 miles per hour. They have 3 claws as opposed to the ostrich's only 2. Um, yeah, they're a flightless bird that is native to Australia.
Down under.
Yeah, which makes it kind of interesting because it's one of the few native animals that causes a problem, as opposed to a invasive species.
In
Which,
Australia.
if you ever bored on a whatever night, just turn on some border patrol or like people going through the airport trying to get into Australia.
Yeah.
That's a good time every time. These are mushrooms. You can't bring mushrooms into Australia. Not down under. No, these aren't. No fungi here. Only boring people.
Yep.
So sorry. I apologize for my terrible Australian accent.
Yeah.
Crikey, Moses.
Yeah.
Anyways, so really, the beginning of this story starts with World War I, because people in Australia go fight for dear old mom. They go fight for the empire.
Lived mem.
And if you've not seen like Gallipoli,
Oh, great film.
go watch
Also,
Gallipoli.
the band played Waltzing Matilda. Shout out to the Pogues, who also are not one of our tens of followers.
It's okay, an unpaid solicitation.
Yep.
But anyway, like these people are coming back. The veterans are coming back, and they go, we owe them, says the Australian government. And so it's kind of a lot of people have said it's like the GI Bill. And like, what was that? That was World War II, though, right? The GI Bill was post World War II, where they came back and said like, we'll like retrain you, give you jobs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, rather than give them jobs, they say we're going to give them farmland and let them go be wheat farmers, because it will be less like it'll be relaxing. It's a slower pace because a lot of them were dealing with at that time what they'd call shell shock, which today we'd call PTSD. And plus wheat prices were pretty good in like 1918. But I mean, the problem's kind of the system's flawed from the beginning, because they're putting them in kind of like southwestern Australia, and the people who are selling their land to the government are selling them, of course, the worst land that they own. So you're setting up these veterans to have small farms with very low yields because people are giving them essentially Oklahoma.
Yeah. No offense, Oklahoma.
If you know, you know.
Yeah. So, one of the things, so again, what's going to happen, obviously, is in 1929, we're going to have the onset of the Great Depression. Again, we studied American history, but it is a worldwide phenomena, right? Especially since America plays such a large role in the international trade community as being one of the surviving infrastructures of World War I. And so the farmers are encouraged to increase their wheat crops. That's not how it works, because then we end up with people like not having it, not making enough money. And so by 1932 in October, things are pretty intense. Not the camping kind of intense, but like high pressure, with the farmers preparing to harvest it. And then they also are refusing to deliver the wheat because the price that the government has promised is not actually being delivered upon.
Yeah, the government had promised subsidies, and the subsidies weren't there. So anytime that somebody says, when they say America's trillions of dollars in debt, and they're like, why don't we call in our loans? Look at past history. It doesn't work very well.
No. But what happens is there's an arrival in this region of Southwest Australia of around 20,000 emus that are there for breeding season.
Mountain chicken.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the changing of the environment into farmland makes it a little bit more kind of, palatable to the emus. The problem is that, well, the emus, one, are eating the wheat. Two, they're putting holes in the fences, which leads to a kind of a secondary problem, which is that the European rabbits that people had brought to go, oh, we'll hunt rabbits. And then rabbits do what rabbits do. Bada bim, bada boom, a ton of rabbits.
A ton of rabbits.
Yeah. So, like, in a way, and later there are Australian officers that will refer to the emus as being like tanks. Tanks are used to punch through defenses against infantry. The rabbits are the infantry that comes in after the emus. So it's kind of like, I don't think there was like any kind of like interspecies like communication where like, and the rabbits were like, go. Yeah. But anyway, where there's a hole in the fence to food, the rabbits will find food.
Yeah.
So it's still a big problem with rabbits in Australia today. So people, the farmers start saying, help, we're under attack.
Yeah, from a giant bird.
Yes. And so the Minister of Defense, Sir George Pierce, listens to these farmers and says, okay, well, we could also use some emu feathers to put in our light horsemen's hats because it looks fancy. Because people are still riding horses into war. Well, up until the next one.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, people are like, no more ponies.
Yeah. Mechanical ponies, but no more ponies.
Yes. So I thought this was interesting because it's called the Emu War, which usually implies like hundreds of combatants. The Australian government sends a grand total of 3 people. And I love that one of them, like, he gets like credited Major Gwynedd Purves Wynne Aubrey Meredith, which a lot of sources just call GPWA Meredith.
Well, hold on though. Okay. He's of the 7th Heavy Battery of Royal Australian Artillery.
Yes. They bring with them 2 Lewis machine guns, which are kind of more light machine guns. They weigh, I think they're in their ballpark of something I was reading, like 20 to 25 pounds.
Yeah.
They're fed by a drum. I'll put a picture of it on the screen. I went and found
on the
one.
top. Yep, yeah. They're like,
so like almost kind of like looks like a Nerf design, honestly.
Right. We're not talking like, so most people hear the word machine gun and they assume it's a belt fed mechanism where you see the war movies where the guy's shooting and like the other guy's making sure the rounds go through. This is like a tin drum. And I think if you played like the early Call of Duties or the early Medal of Honors, that you could fire a Lewis gun. And I remember your guy had to like grab the cylinder and like slap, or not cylinder, but like the circular drum and like slam it on top to like.
Yeah, they give them 3 dudes, 2 guns, and 10,000 rounds.
Rounds of ammunition.
which isn't even enough to kill all the emus because there's at least 20,000 of them.
20,000 of them. Yeah. So if
You're
you
gonna at best kill half of them.
Yeah.
Unless you could like 2-for-1, like double headshot.
Yeah, but again, we're still talking. This is a machine gun, so it's not designed to do that.
So in early November of 1932, in southwestern Australia, they lay an ambush
For birds.
for 50 emus. And the first time they open up, they don't wait until the emus are close enough, and they fire, and they're very ineffective, and they don't hit anything. The second attempt later in the day, the second attempt that they open up with, they say they kill a number of emus, which of course with statistics is very helpful because a number is a number. And then there's another later incursion, I think that day, or another engagement later that day, and they kill like 12.
No. But the best part is in the research, they put in quotes, they killed perhaps a dozen. Like nobody bothered to count the birds. They were just like, dozen.
They're getting paid by the hour. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how many, like, you know what I mean? It's like, do you get paid by the bird or do you get paid by the hour? If you get paid by the hour, nobody cares how many birds you kill.
Yeah, it's true.
Still getting paid.
They want 100 feathers for the light horseman.
Yeah. And then, so a few days later, on the 4th, they lay an ambush by a local dam of 1,000 emus.
Oh, it's going to be a big one.
But the gun jams, and they still kill about a dozen. And then they get the idea of, let's mount one of these guns, kind of like, the cartels or, Libyans. Let's mount one of these machine guns to a truck and make a mobile platform of death. The problem is the truck can't keep up with the emus.
Yeah, it doesn't go fast enough.
And the terrain is so rough that it completely makes the machine gun, like, you can't aim because you're bouncing all over the place, so it doesn't work. And so by I think another week goes by, and they're like, they had fired 250.
Yeah, this is the 8th of November.
2,500 rounds.
Yep.
And they'd killed 50, somewhere between 50 and the government says 50. The locals swear that it's up to 500.
No.
The Australian
how is it 500? They keep killing them in dozens. It's like there's 1 dozen, 2 dozen.
The Australian House of Representatives is like, no, this isn't working. Put the brakes on this. And when they interview, I think it's Meredith, he talks about he compares the emus to fighting the Zulus in the Boers Wars, or to tanks, because of their grisly feathers and their ability to walk, move around. Because you gotta figure that, like, emus aren't solid. There's got to be some fluff. If you've ever seen an owl and then seen where the actual body of the owl is, that a bullet could pass through, and you're probably just hitting feathers.
Yeah.
But
can I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt here.
Yeah, go ahead.
So you got to remember, this is, at this point, you can probably realize this isn't a war. This isn't people trying to kill birds, right? But the best part is, on November 8th, he withdrew. It was a military withdrawal. Him and the 2 other dudes and the guns withdrew.
They yielded the field to the emus.
So let's be clear. The birds won the first engagement.
And then after about another week, James Mitchell, who's the premier of Western Australia, which is confusing for Washingtonians because the abbreviation for Western Australia is also WA.
WA, yeah.
But you can often tell Australian names like Wagaloon or Wagalan. They're not quite, Waikaikum or Squim. I love that was the second one that popped into our heads. But anyway, they send the soldiers back out for another month. And at that point, they estimate that they racked up 986 kills while firing 9,860 rounds. which means for every 10 bullets fired, they killed one emu. And
That's literally the definition of spray and pray.
No, but to be fair, that's better than America's done. In Vietnam, the U.S., the average number of rounds spent to confirmed kill in Vietnam was 50,000 rounds to one confirmed kill. And in Afghanistan, they say it was 250,000.
Okay, so but let's back it up here, there, Trigger, because I'm feeling patriotic today. Emus don't shoot back.
Emus don't have spider holes or artillery or claymores or MiGs. Fair enough. And they don't live in the tunnel systems of the Hindu Kush mountains, which would be terrifying if they did. I mean, I don't even know what sounds emus make.
Probably something velociraptor-y. Go velociraptor-y. Like Emma when she yells.
Yes. They also postulate, on top of the almost 1,000 kills, that another 2,500 were severely wounded and would surely succumb to their wounds, right? They would pass away later.
God.
They were wrong.
Yeah, no kidding.
So they stop again. I think they stopped because they used all the bullets.
Yeah, I think it's something like that. So it's like they take to the fields. Let's see. Yeah, there's an article written about it in 1935 that's like, why did we do this? And then it gets, where does it get there? It gets in 1932, it gets spread to, the word of the Emu War is spread all the way to the UK. And conservationists obviously act as conservationists do and are like, hey, whoa, like, let's not wipe this bird off the map, please, because it's inconveniencing you mildly. And again, I'm not a weed farmer in Western Australia, but like, come on. So.
And so they go back to a more of an old school bounty system, which over a 6-month period, the local farmers, I think, would probably just long guns take out 57,000 5734 emus. And then there's also another extensive campaign of putting up better fencing.
Yep.
But today there are still somewhere between 625 to 725,000 emus in Australia. So surely the next great Emu War 2, could be on the horizon.
It's actually going straight to Netflix. It's not going to theaters. One last piece, though, there's in 1950, this pops up again with a guy named Hugh Leslie, and he raises the issue of emus to the federal parliament and urges the army minister, I think it's Josiah Francis, to release a quantity of 303 ammunition from the army to let farmers. The minister actually releases 500,000 rounds of ammunition to go to farmers to shoot at emus again.
But the emus remain.
They're dominant. They won. It was
their guerrilla tactics.
3 dudes, 2 machine guns couldn't win.
So, in grand total, as the casualties sit, there were 0 lives lost by Australia.
Yep.
And the emus lose somewhere in the neighborhood of 58,000 emus. But they did not die in vain.
Nope.
For the emus persist.
They rose to the challenge.
Vive la emus.
Oh, Barker, that's our next shirt. Viva la emus. Barker, that's our next shirt.
That'll be the next shirt. I will make I will mock some Vive la emu stuff
you're
up.
have so much fun with that one. Oh my god, I'm buying a long sleeve of that.
Emus 2, Australia 0.
Oh, you can have so much fun. I love it. That's our next shirt.
I'll work some stuff up over Christmas break.
I like it. I like it. All right, guys. Wow. I hope you were as enthralled as we were to learn about this. We have a busy time of year coming up. So I hope that you guys are enjoying these. Please feel free to, like, subscribe. We always love that, because it makes us feel good that we're up tens of followers. But what's really fun is like when you guys actually put out stuff. So we're actually I'll make sure that tomorrow I'll put on my Instagram page and I'll put on the Turnbark Time Instagram page requests for anything you guys want to hear about. So, but this is so much fun. I'm glad you picked this one.
If you have another goofy war, or there's a war that you think that we haven't covered yet that merits,
the
talking
greatness
about,
that is us.
whether it's about a stool, a bucket, an ear, what have you. If you want to hear about it and you think that we deserve to share it with the world, or share it with the tens of people in the world that listen to us blather on a weekly basis, please let us know what you want, and we will try and deliver as best we can. Probably faster than Amazon Prime right now.
Yeah, but tell us though, because to quote a famous song, tell us what you want, what you really, really want, and then we'll tell you what we want, what we really, really want.
And we'll zig a zig ah.
We're not gonna go into the next part though. All right, guys. Bark, anything more?
Tick 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 boom. Brief politics update for America. The runoff in Georgia is over. I think it's settled.
Yes.
Raphael Warnock has won re-election.
Yep. So he actually gets to serve a full term in the Senate because he was a special race, I believe.
Yeah. Which means that the Democrats hold the Senate and the Republicans hold the House, which either means nothing gets done, or we try this new magical idea called bipartisanship.
I hope it works.
That's what Thomas Jefferson said.
Zing.
Anyways, there's your update. Herschel Walker is not going to the Senate, even though he thinks that America is the greatest country in the United States. But sorry, not nice to make fun of people who aren't very smart. But oops.
It happens. America, we can do better from all aspects of this. Don't care what political party you look at. We can do better.
Yes, we can.
But update for more local. Congratulations to Quincy High School girls basketball team defeating Chelan for the first time since 1996, which is fantastic. So nice job. They won in overtime, which was phenomenal. And this is a shout out to my 6th period class, my 3rd period class, my 4th period class, and my 5th period class. I don't know why I went in that order, but I just did. Hope you guys are enjoying these. I know you're not watching them, and that's the best part. Shout out to my mom, because she is. Hi, Mom.
You're great, Patty. We love you.
Yep. Patty Turner for the win. All right. Oh, I guess we should shout out our fake nieces.
Oh, yep. Caitlin and Kelsey.
Yep.
Especially Kelsey, rocking the merch on Whitworth campus in the Spoke Compton.
Love it. All right.
Keep it real.
All right. Until next time, y'all. I'm the Turn.
I'm the Bark.
And we're going to be here a long time. Have a good night, everybody.
Be safe.
And be well.